Okay, welcome everyone to a special city council meeting of Canyon City, and this is July 21st, 2026, and I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Dennehy, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. All present.
Okay, very good. So appreciate the folks that are here and the presenters and those who may be listening online right now or in the future. And I just want to lay out a little bit about what we're up to tonight and talk through that. And then we'll have the presentations, which is the real focus for this evening. So we all know that there was a pool that was voted in on 2024, and we struggled to get the operational dollars, and in fact that didn't happen. And so on June the 1st, the City Council decided that they would pull back from the pool as it was designed and focused on at that point. And on June the 9th, the Recreation District took a similar position. As a result, we have monies that are being collected by the 0.3 sales tax that was passed in 2024. That's ongoing, and the only opportunity to change that is twice a year, which is, from a practical standpoint, in May and in November as far as the council. For the state, it's July 1st and January 1st. So that sales tax is ongoing right now and being collected by the state and reimbursed to the city. As a result of that, at this point, we've collected about $2.1 million that were part of that sales tax. And out of that, $750,000 was spent by the rec district for the old pool and focusing on that. That leaves a balance of $1,350,000 approximately. These are round numbers. And with collections still going, we're expecting by the end of the year there will be about 2.2 to 2.4 million that will be in that fund. The 0.3% at this point is ongoing, and the goal for this meeting is to confirm that these monies are not the city council's to do something with. These are your monies. These are citizens' monies, and as a result, we're looking to do something with a vote. Now, there are exceptions to that, and we may talk about what those exceptions are. One might be a refund or something like that, which is going to be discussed tonight. So I'm not laying a blanket theme across it. It's going to be the council that decides what they want to do and how they want to go forward. I view my role as the mayor on this particular topic to be nothing but the umpire. I am not going to take a position at all on any of these. It is the 7 members of the council that will make that decision. What I am interested in is that we meet the September 1st ballot deadline if we are choosing to go that way, and to have an organized process to do exactly that. So what that looks like is July 21st, which is tonight, we'll have 6 presentations from citizens. This is called the Citizens Champions Initiative because it's being driven by citizens. Those presentations will be delivered this evening. And then on August 3rd, the council will make a decision, if they so choose, which one goes on the ballot. I am hoping tonight that out of the 6 that the council will deliberate after the presentations and in fact narrow that down to 3. What that does is give you as citizens the opportunity to lobby your council members for the next 13 days after today because they have a decision to make on August 3rd. And I think that's totally appropriate that citizens absolutely become engaged and get a hold of the council members that you choose to and say, out of the 3, this is the one that we are interested in seeing happen. The council will make that decision hopefully on August 3rd. It will be turned over to the attorneys, and the attorneys will put together the formal ballot language. And then on August 17th, which is a regular city council meeting, there will be a formal decision as far as putting that on the ballot for the November 3rd election. We'll meet the September 1st deadline. And then on November 3rd, the citizens will make a choice, yay or nay. Now that may include 2 things. The 2 things are the pot of money that's already there, and if there's a proposal that says to continue with the 0.3%. And so that is possible that that would be the outcome, is that we'll keep collecting the tax for a proposal that would be out there. Obviously, if it's a refund that the council chooses, that would not be the case, and the monies would be distributed on whatever methodology that would be equitable that the council would choose to go forward with. So that's the layout of the land as far as where we're at. I do want to focus on the rules tonight as far as what we're going to do. And then I've got one other comment that I'd like to make. and then we'll go from there. So the letters of intent were due last Thursday, and that went to the city clerk. That's why the 6 people are here in this jar to be presenting tonight. The material was last night. Hopefully everyone's got their PowerPoint if they choose to do that. And then the presentations, I'll read this word for word. Presentations to be given to council on Tuesday, July 21st, 2026 at 7:15 p.m. That's why we're assembled right now. Each speaker will be given 15 minutes to present their idea with 5 minutes of Q&A. Presenters will be randomly selected through a drawing. And again, I've got the little chart or the jar right here for that to take place. The city clerk has set the timer for 15 minutes tonight. So that is something that, again, as the umpire, I'm going to hold to. I'm also going to hold to the council members having 5 minutes, and we're going to circulate through that. So I'm going to start with Jeremy Reeves and work this way. If each one could keep it in the 30 seconds to 60-second range, that would be good. That gives every council member. And then the next one will be starting off with Fred Toney and coming through that process. And so it's going to be organized tonight. I'm hoping that everyone just focuses on their own effort that they have, and we go from there. My understanding is there are 3 pool proposals tonight that are going to be taking place. There's one for a incline at the Skyline area. I won't call it Skyline on the road because it's an incline going up there. And then also the Western Gateway project, there's a presentation, and as I mentioned, the refund. And again, there are citizen champions who are responsible for each of those to move those forward. So I do want to mention Brad Rowland, a personal friend of mine. Some of you probably know him. He's Emergent Campus. He posted today about 2019. And if you remember, 2019, there was a big effort for the $500,000 that was out there that was going to redo the downtown area. And the picture that he put out there was a picture of a whole bunch of citizens who were very enthusiastic about their downtown, about their town moving forward. And we need to reclaim that. That's something that is, we don't need an outside influence, I believe, to do that. It's something that we as citizens and as a council and as the administration, we can all move this town forward. So the only thing I would say as far as proposals and just encourage the council is what can we do to bring us together as opposed to we're going to have to fight for every vote in a November ballot, and that creates a division in the community. And I'd ask the council to consider that because I really appreciated Brad posting that today. I don't think he was doing it to do anything about this, but it just recalled that if we work together, there's just a lot of things that we can do and make some things happen. So that's the process. I see that a couple council members, at least Councilmember Schmischer, you want to address with questions, or what would you like to do?
Thanks, and thanks so much for that inspiring opening. Just one point of clarification. Thanks so much for going over what folks could expect tonight. Could you also just talk about the voting slip that we each have in front of us so that they know what to expect at the end of the meeting from your perspective? Thanks.
Sure, thank you, and I appreciate that. So each of the council members got a sheet that I'm sure the city clerk put together in her organized efforts that she constantly does. Appreciate that, Cindy. And the council members are going to, again, what I was mentioning, get it down to 3. And so each of the names of the presenters are on there. I think that it is talked about on choosing 2, and then we'll assemble that and see where it lines up with the top 3 that would move forward. I'm hoping that is announced tonight, and I hope that sufficiently talks about what this was about. And then City Administrator Ryan Stevens, please.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to correct the record on a couple of things.
Sure.
Last night I misspoke when referencing Mr. Starika's proposal. I said it was refund. It is actually pool related, so you will actually have 4 pool proposals today. And then the other, you'd mentioned earlier about the $700,000 that had been used by the rec district. I just want to clarify that was not used for the old pool. That was used for the design under the vote. So,
Yeah, I appreciate that. And that was my understanding, and I appreciate you clarifying the record on that. And that those monies were expended in 2025, not in 2026. Okay. We're not going to focus much on citizen comments tonight. I want to focus on moving this thing forward. And with that, I'm going to alternate between folks on my right and left that they're going to choose. And again, I haven't looked at this, so we're going to let the Mayor Pro Tem select the first name, and you can announce that if you
Dan
want.
Francis.
Okay, Dan Francis. And again, Dan, you've got 15 minutes, so fire away.
So, I think there's a clicker up there or something, he said. Am I supposed to use a clicker?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do that. I knew without question I was going to go first.
Dan, there's a microphone in front of you. If you press the button, folks at home will be able to hear.
Can you hear me now?
Can hear you now.
Yep. So, Mayor, City Council, thank you very much. Yep, I knew tonight without question I was going to go first, so it was interesting. I could almost pick that. So anyway, I'm for continuing the tax and continuing collecting it, and I have a concept that I think is beneficial to the city, to the community. It's a way to capture tourists that come into the area. I'm going to use the bridge as an example in this presentation, and I'm going to use them as an example now. The bridge on a bad day sees around 500 people a day, and 250 of those people we can assume go back the way they came, and 250 of those people will come into town. And we miss those 250. We're not getting any other activity out of them except for the time they spend at the bridge. I realize my presentation is not within the city limits, but it's in an area that I believe has the ability to be annexed in by the city and has been looked at before. Anyhow, so this is the Royal Gorge Dinosaur Experience that's currently up there by the bridge. It is next to 8 Mile and Whitewater Restaurant. And I believe that after speaking to the owners and multiple individuals, that the existing building sets itself up for the fact that there is an ability to enclose an indoor 6-lane swimming pool. There's 37 acres there. We have room for food events, food trailers, family recreation, gazebos. There's sand volleyball. You have all kinds of opportunities there that you can do. The recommended direction is, as I said, continue to collect the tax. I do want to mention the pools are pools. No one comes to, in my mind, no one's coming to Kansas City and to Colorado to swim in a aquatic chlorinated pool. They're coming to swim in the Arkansas River. They're coming to swim in the river. So what you're going to see there is not, you'll see some stuff that's pretty blue, but it's not intended to be blue. That's intended to be a pond. They're lined pond pools. The filtration system is above and below those ponds. I have the, I'll go to the next page in a second, but I have the developer that's done these before multiple times. In the design you see on that outside, it's the best that we could do in a couple of days. The design's not going to be that big for the building, and most likely you're going to have a little less pond area per se. But you can see in there's sand volleyball court, there's pickleball courts on the bottom. You've got multiple pools throughout the area, including a dog pond pool. We won't really need to see that. The pool, so the seasonal peaks of this, we have profit centers. We're operating indoor pools, sports courts, rentals for the gazebos. We'll have leagues that can be operated by the rec district, which you'll see later. We have multiple events, a combination of multiple revenue streams between the bridge, the train, getting people into town. There's, again, 37 acres out there, so we can have food truck area. You have the ability to bring in RVs if we decided on that side, on the back side of that. Not that you'd want to compete what's there. The one main thing that you're going to have is a restaurant bar. The restaurant bar is going to serve liquor. If you've ever been to a country club, Cheyenne Mountain Country Club's one I would use. If you go up there and they serve liquor, there's a special spot for adults, so they can have a libation, a cold libation, and not feel like the Mary's going to come by and grab the white drink with the cherry on top and run around with it. So there is an opportunity for that, and that's really one of the avenues that you're going to generate revenue from and be able to pay the operating and management fees for, much less without salt water or without chlorine. This is the, again, all natural pools, outdoor natural pool area. You have a lazy river. You're going to have a rock diving area, and what I mean by that, it's not like 50-foot rock diving. It's just have some fake rock areas that kids can come in and jump off. The pools will be that deep that they can do that. Again, adult divided pool areas so that adults can be entertained and have their libations if they want. The dog pound, the gazebos, food truck pads, and a lot of shade and seating up there. It's a great view. If you've been up there, it lays itself out. If you drive past the dinosaur park, that whole right side would be, we'd also maintain I guess it's a climbing apparatus that's there currently. I forget what it's called, but we'd also maintain the dinosaurs because it's unique to Kansas City and to this area, and those would be left, except for possibly the ones inside would go. Again, sand volleyball, basketball, pickleball, league rental courts, restaurant, bar, events, parties, tourism packages. I mean, you got all kinds of things you can do here. My biggest design about this and the ability to use it is day passes. We talk about residential pricing. We'd have, I know from sitting on committees, there's a lot of question about low-income residential passes, people who may or may not be able to go there, and I think we would address that. This is just an initial, hey, this is what we can do that I think would be beneficial to Kansas City and Fremont County. I do want to model this in reference to the Royal Gorge Bridge. The city owns the Royal Gorge Bridge and just got done doing a lease on it for 45 years, or 25 plus 10 plus 10. I'd like to do the same thing here. You're looking at about a $19 million project. That's including on the purchase of the building and putting in all the lazy rivers, the parks, everything that I mentioned, to the food truck areas. Do similar, 20 years, run the full facilities, turn 10% over to the city each year, and then at the end of 20 years, do a lease back to somebody else that you think, or let the city operate it and manage it. But very similar to what you're seeing with the park right now. Less money. Here's some of the $19 million conceptual framework for it. I mean, I've got $5 million in the building and site acquisition. The building's not that much. It's probably a little bit less than $2.5 million. They're very interested. Obviously, they're participants and citizens of the community and want to get back, so they're willing to work with us. The outdoor aquatics and the indoor aquatics are around $8 million. You've got the break there, $2.2 million for my dog pound and gazebos in the grounds, 1.3 restaurant, food and bar build out and design, and some contingency cost. In that design and contingency cost would also include getting some additional water there that would come from the bridge, which we've already had some conversation with on what we can do there. There's some opportunities to bring some water in. Again, it's not the typical aquatic pool where you have chlorine or salt water. It's a pond, and it's probably something that the parks and the community would have to be educated on to understand it. Again, it's blue, but it's really going to be river looking. But from the recreational department integration, I want the recreational department to be involved. Let them schedule volleyball, pickleball, basketball, swimming programs. The rentals, you've got gazebos, parties, event blocks. I mean, you can do outdoor parties up there. You've got all kinds of opportunities on 37 acres. It's an area that hasn't been looked at least that I've not found anybody from speaking to the owners. No one else has brought up this idea, and a couple of people were fortunate enough to kind of give it to me. The operator would run the guest experience, maintain staffing, food, beverage, and safety standards, and again, a percentage would go back to the city. Those families, we learn to swim. We've got recreational areas. We can all gather in one place. Business, community, food trucks, event tourism, packages, extended stays. One of the things that I'd like to do, providing we get there, would be give the food trucks and the other restaurants in the community an opportunity to run the restaurant for 90 days. So you don't always have Italian food sitting up there, or you don't have Mexican. You let them run. It'd be a great business opportunity for food trucks who don't have the opportunity to have brick and mortar buildings, they're going to be able to experience that, see if they like it. Those people, may come back to town and decide they want to own a building on Main Street or someplace in town and do a restaurant, not a food truck. So nothing wrong with food truck, just opportunities. Overall, it would be a real estate asset that the city would own, enterprise revenue, potential 10% proceeds on the return, and it's a recreational area that fits Cannon City's outdoor identity. I mean, it's something completely different, and we need it, and I think the community would definitely be behind it. So this is, I don't think I need a recommended 60-day. We're not there. Again, just trying to show the picture of kind of what's there. You see the sand volleyball courts and the pickleballs outside. There's a lot of stuff we can do inside basketball. No jump house. Somebody wanted a jump house. Again, the detailed conceptual budget breakdown. You guys might want to look at that in a little bit more detail, but it doesn't change the bottom number. It's $19 million, but it's not 30. And it doesn't cost $1 million to operate it every year. The city would be away from that, so there'd be no repercussion to the city that we would be coming back asking for money on the city. So it's just basically a natural pond. That's the concept, and continue to collect the tax, because I think that the city just doesn't need a pool. It needs a center that has a pool and some activities to generate revenue. Otherwise, you're going to create another building or another asset that's a negative producing asset, and I don't think we need that as a city. I don't like the current location that was on the 24 ballot. The school and the Parks Department, that area is too small. That's already, 3 or 4 years old. What you would want to put there, we'd outgrow in another 3 years. I mean, if you're trying to make it sustainable, you're not going to put a restaurant bar, not that that's part of, not all of it, but as part of it, you're not going to put a restaurant bar that close to the school, or on school property. So anyway, that's pretty much my presentation. If someone's got questions, I'm happy to answer. Just trying to be different and give the city an opportunity to do something. I will say this, private funding, it's because I know it's going to come up. Okay, Dan, build it. I mean, we've got 6 people here tonight, and thanks and kudos to all 6 people, myself included, that are here, because there'll be a lot of naysayers, but I don't see them here tonight making a presentation. So if you're going to be a naysayer and you're here tonight, and you're not here tonight, I really don't care. But I do care for the fact that the city needs something that's beneficial. And so you're not going to get private funding on this, and here's the reason. So you have to have city backing. Any private funding that I would go out and find, the first thing they're going to say is it's the municipality backing you, is the city backing you. And I'm going to say, if I say no, then they're going to say, let me see the numbers. And when I show them 24, 25, and now 26 numbers for tourism, they're terrible. The numbers are down. And so it's like having a building like I just bought on Main Street, or on 50. It has been sitting vacant for multiple years. So can't really buy it. It was difficult to buy for the fact that it had no income. And that's really what you're going to find here. This is a new building, a new concept, and the tourism's been low the last 3 years. And it's not going up, it's gone down. So just so that's out there.
Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
I'm going to start the timer for the 5 minutes, and council members, it's okay if you pass. Starting out with Jeremy Reeves. Okay. Fred?
So one thing you're going to have is a water issue up there.
Not if you're sitting on the bridge, I'm going to get water from you. No, I know we're going to have some water issues up there. We talked about water, and I'm happy to listen to whatever options you might have for us as well.
Yeah, I think that has to be discussed with the council, maybe with Ryan and his team, our water.
That'd be great.
Our water team. Any estimate of what the revenue would be on this?
No, it didn't do a revenue income. I just know that it's going to produce itself. I mean, I have not put the. I mean, tourism numbers are down. There's nothing like it that's around. I mean, that looks grandiose right there, obviously. But I mean, you're going to have 4 or 5 pools up there. So it just depends. I'm using the bridge as an example of how many people you see using the train. Those revenue streams are pretty big. I guess if I'm only worried about one thing, it'd be staffing. But, the train's got, 300 and 400 in the off-season, or 400 in winter season. You've got staffing on what the bridge has. But, I mean, they're there. I mean, something like this, they'll come far. So.
Okay.
It's one of those.
Councilmember Worthington, I want to make sure you get a chance.
Yeah.
Okay. Councilmember Schmischer.
Thanks. Is this within the rec district boundary? Do you know?
Rec district boundary, no, I don't know.
Okay. And
He does, and
Ryan
his
probably
thumbs
knows,
up.
right.
awesome.
Kyle knows
And then,
about
do you know if I think you mentioned that there would be an indoor pool. Would that be chlorinated and long enough for swim meets?
The chlorinated one, on the inside would be chlorinated, yes.
Would it be long enough?
Yeah, six lanes and long enough for whatever has to meet the high school sports limit, and I don't know what that is, Amy, to be honest with you, but I do know that we would have 6 lanes inside, so.
Okay. And then do you have a sense of ballot language, and like, would you be proposing that something go on in November, or?
I think that, not really. I mean, I think we have the best opportunity having this tax that encompasses all the people who visit the community. It's not just taxing the citizens and the business owners, and I just hate to see this go back to the ballot and be voted off and not back in. And I realize there's Tabor rules that I'm not familiar with.
Sure.
But I just think that losing the tax would be detrimental to the community. Because we'll be back in the spot in another year or two, trying to find ways to get money. Because it doesn't matter if it's here, somebody else is going to present a Nicky Bond pool or something like that tonight. You're going to have another $5 or $6 million presentation, and they're going to need city help.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Councilmember Maloney.
Thanks, Dan. That was a nice presentation. That looks like a lot of fun.
You ready to go? Let's go.
Honestly. But along with Councilman Tony, the water, if our splash pad is using 1,600 gallons a day, could you imagine the evaporation up there? That's my only concern. And I think that's the major issue, but
Right.
maybe something can be,
I think there's
figured out.
options there. We have $1.5 million in the budget that would be for the water, to have some conversation there to bring water over. The good news is it is a lined pool. It's not just going to evaporate downward, it will evaporate up. But it's a lot different. The ponds evaporation's there, not nearly as bad as chlorinated pool or saltwater pool. I don't know why there's some chemical imbalance there that doesn't allow that as much. But we can't get water up there, and that's going to be probably the only challenge.
Okay, I do need to move on. Councilmember McClure.
Thank
McClure.
you.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Thank you, and thank you for your presentation. I have a couple of questions. Do you have an example, or can you point us to any examples of where these types of pools have succeeded before?
Mostly overseas. They haven't done them on a large scale. What makes that so nice at the Dinosaur Park is there's so many natural indentations in the property up there that we walked around, and there's at least 8 or 10 areas that we could put pools. It's not anything that's not doable, we'll just say that.
Thank you.
So, but a lot of them are done in England and overseas,
Okay.
basically.
Awesome, thank you. And then also, is there any room in the budget for maybe having a shuttle type service to help people, maybe children who can't drive, to get up to 8 Mile Hill?
We did talk about that in one of the meetings we had. It would be great to find a spot downtown that we could shuttle people up and back. And I think they'll probably end up needing that for the high school and for the kids, the visiting high schools, if they want to participate up there. So,
Great, thank you.
Timer works.
all right.
So does that one.
Oh, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, Dan, that's our time, and I appreciate it very much, and we appreciate you coming. So,
Thanks.
yep, 5 minutes of questions, so we need to move on. Tim, I haven't forgot about you on there. We're out of time, and I'll make sure I get to you next time. Okay.
You're fine.
Jerry, you want to pull the next one out and announce it?
James Santilli.
Welcome, James.
Hello. Cool. We're good?
You're good.
Cool.
Fire away.
Cool. Well, thanks, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity, Mr. Mayor, Council. I think that we have a very unique opportunity here. Obviously, the pool is a very contentious issue, and I'm still a fan of the pool, to be honest with you, but in the current landscape, I don't see how it can come together. It just would require so many different things to change, and and it just, I don't know. So I was thinking, my presentation is very much oriented towards what to do with the 2-point-something million dollars. And as far as the tax goes, my opinion on that is I would let it sunset personally, because the language was written as such that everybody voted for its intended purpose, not for it to be repurposed. So with that said, I believe my idea, excuse me, might give the city, the county, and even the region something tangible, and it's relatively economical compared to a pool or something like that. So with that said, my idea encompasses, I've just called it Skyline Incline. So right now, we all are probably familiar with Manitou Incline, and for those who are not familiar with the Manitou Incline, I have a photo and a couple slides here. It's essentially I believe it's I think it's a mile-long incline staircase just going up, situated at or near somewhere the base of Pikes Peak, and it's in Manitou Springs, and it's known for being very strenuous, and a lot of people take selfies and things like that once they reach the summit. It's a very proud moment for many. So with that, I thought, well, we have a really cool mountain. It's, technically it's a Razorback mountain, I believe. I don't know the correct terminology, but I think that Skyline is unique in that, and especially the fact that Canyon has it, is not many cities have that opportunity to have something that people can drive on, get really cool pictures, views, things like that. It's just unique. You don't really see it that often. You don't come across it that often when traveling. At least I have not. So with that, I think that we really do have a gem on Skyline, or in and of itself, just because it's there. We kind of use it. We do. But I think that it's got a lot of potential, and I think it's just something that maybe we're all complacent about because we just see it every day and it just kind of blends in. But maybe there's something there. So this presentation is just about the Skyline Incline. And some of these renditions that you can see on the screen are just AI generated. I'm just going to throw that out. So obviously the scale might not be super accurate or anything like that, but hopefully it's just enough to give everybody an image or an idea of something to work with. So right now, Canyon City is also well known for trails. We have a lot of trails, and in fact, a lot of people throughout the state travel here just to hit our trails, especially with mountain biking. We all know that. With this, and due to our climate, this could be a year-round activity. People can, it's literally a staircase, so people can just go up and down it. Obviously, if it's snowing or icy or if it's dangerous, obviously we wouldn't allow people on it. But otherwise, our climate would allow for something like that. And it would also be a natural attraction. I have a slide on that here following shortly. And people would come and maybe even visit just for that, and then in turn spend money in the community. And we can also allow, maybe have races going up it, school challenges, nonprofit fundraisers, first responder climbs. I have some ideas down here at the bottom. It's just another opportunity for people to enjoy Canyon City. Sorry, there it goes. So, and I just wanted to touch on the pool really quick on the math, because and hopefully this kind of brings it into perspective for some. The current amount of money that we've accumulated, around $2 million, is nowhere near the amount needed to get a pool off the ground. If it were at your house or something like that, absolutely, you could build a very nice pool for $2 million in a residence. From a government level perspective, especially, it's just not feasible. There's just too many different things to have happen. And then the city itself, it said in the ballot language, is an estimated $24 million to build, and that's obviously probably gone up since then. And it would cost around $1.2 million a year to operate, and a 25-year commitment was estimated to be around $72 to $87 million. And that's just for the ideal pool that people were voting for in the ballot language. And obviously, I think that people are probably going to be presenting other proposals tonight that would hone that figure down quite a bit. And let's just say it's even $8 million to build and it's $500,000 a year to operate. Again, $2 million does not get it there. And would 0.3% of the tax enough to cover that? I don't know. I suspect some of these other proposals, which I'm looking forward to hearing, will address some of those numbers. So I put together a conservative scenario for potential economic impact for the Skyline Incline. And let's just, purely hypothetical, so let's just say 50,000 annual uses. Maybe that's just people here locally, but let's just say 40% of that 50,000 are from out of area or came here specifically just to use it. And let's just say, on average, they all spend $75 per visit in the local community. That we would witness a $1.5 million a year economic impact just from that alone. And like I said, these numbers are very conservative. So obviously there's some ebb and flow. So maybe 1 year it's not as much and 1 year it's more. But and this is just for round math. But they're here doing something anyway. Maybe they're here for the train or something like that. But this would just be another way to throw something into the mix for them to do and spend more time in the community. And especially cool is it's really close to downtown. So Manitou, as I mentioned earlier, is really the inspiration for this. And at the top right of the slide deck here, that's the Manitou Incline. It's very steep. Actually, this photo doesn't do it justice. It's dirt, kind of like, I guess, railroad tie logs kind of ascending upward, and it's just made of dirt. Recently, it's been kind of rejuvenated. It looks quite a bit nicer. I don't know if this is a totally accurate photo, but this just shows you it's just a staircase going up. And so that's the idea here with me. But really quick, the Manitou Incline witnesses 70,000 annual visitors, just specifically visiting for that. Obviously, they have the springs feeding them more flow, more annual visitors. But this specific figure here cited just 70,000 annual uses specifically going to Manitou Springs just to use the incline. And with that, they get to enjoy all the benefits of people there, spending more money, et cetera, et cetera. So what my plan is, Manitou Springs has had it for quite some time, and with that said, they've had the opportunity to probably iron out a lot of the wrinkles, or so to speak. So currently, Manitou is allowing for free time-based reservations, and with that, you also have to sign a waiver to access the trail. So there's some risk mitigation there built in for potential lawsuits or things of that nature. They've posted hours. They have a daily capacity. It's an uphill stairs, and it's a separate descent. They've also allowed for dedicated parking. They have a free downtown trailhead shuttle, and they have events, sponsors, grants, donations, also helping to fund the trail for its maintenance and things like that. We can really copy their playbook here. They've done all the homework, and it's really just for us to kind of just copy and paste, really. Obviously, we probably wouldn't be able to offer a free downtown trailhead shuttle or anything like that right away, but dedicated parking, there is parking there currently at the base, on top, on either side. We'd probably dial that in a little bit more, but it already exists. That's the beauty of it. And also, one thing unfortunately I wanted to really put in my slide here was the Manitou Incline only has one point of ingress on top, ingress, to get to the top, and that's by walking to the top. We fortunately have the ability for emergency vehicles, things of that nature, to access the top via vehicle. So I think that's a compelling point as well. I forgot to include on the deck. We already have a head start. We have their playbook. We have potential seed capital if this idea were to come into fruition. We already have the landmark. Like I said, Skyline is, I think it's an underutilized asset of ours. The terrain is there. The views are there. The hogbacks are already existing, and they have some sort of recreational function and hiking, whatever. This is less maintenance intensive than a pool. My estimates were around maybe $100,000 a year to maybe just have somebody just general trail upkeep, things like that. and maybe around $1.5 million to $900,000 to construct the actual trailhead. Obviously, that's just an estimate, and it could be less or more, but it wouldn't be. I don't think it'd be anywhere outside of the ballpark of a maximum of 2.5 to construct. So, in closing, I'd like to just my proposal is to put the Skyline Incline on the ballot for citizens to consider. And perhaps just reconsider or sunset the 0.3% tax, the sales tax. And if there's a want or a need or anybody wants to propose a 0.3% tax for a pool going forward or something else, I believe personally it would have to be another ballot initiative specifically relating to tax language. This is my belief. I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, but I don't think that personally, again, I don't think it's right to have a tax that was purposed for one thing be repurposed for another thing or augmented differently or get a slightly different version. I think that's for the citizens to decide on that. But at the very bottom here, the subtitles are unfortunately taken over, but the ask tonight is to direct staff, city council to develop, thank you, ballot language authorizing pool tax funds for Skyline Incline feasibility design and construction. And that's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Tony.
Did you skip? Okay.
It's your turn. We're skipping.
Do you have any idea how many steps you're going to have, what the distance is or the angle?
I do not. The Manitou Incline is around 2,000 something steps. Obviously, it's a lot different and it just depends on how steep you want to make the staircase, things like that. So I don't have a good answer for that question just because there's so many variables that would factor into that. Probably maybe around 900 off the top of my head. I did a little bit of homework, but not enough to give you a concrete answer.
So what percentage of local citizens, Canyon City citizens, do you think will use the incline?
I don't have that off the top of my head. I assumed a 50,000 annual use estimate per individual, so 50,000 individuals using it annually. And of that, I said 40% would be out of town or visitors, so 60% of 50,000. So,
Okay. I need to move on. Kathy?
James, where do you anticipate, I'm trying to visualize where you would actually start going up as far as what part of the ridge line?
Sure, that's a great question. I think I hate this term, but I think a feasibility study would have to probably be done because you'd have to do some soil studies and things like that. You want to make sure everything's stable. So with that said, so what I did was I took a photo actually I was on Skyline today. I took this photo and I had Google Gemini modify the photo to show a staircase descending down. And this one's a little different in the sense that there's kind of like a switchback at the bottom. So there's a variation here that's, to kind of deal with how steep the incline would be. This would be one aspect. You can maybe do like kind of a switchback kind of thing. And then actually, let me see if I can dial back some of these. I have some photos here. So one on the right is very steep, obviously, but that was just a rendition. And so to answer your question, these photos were done by where you can currently park at the base, kind of where you come out after you've driven down at the bottom, and there's kind of a dirt parking lot. So I literally took a photo of that today. I said, hey, add a staircase, and that's where that was. So in my mind, it'd be really cool if you could come out to the paved surface up top or something like that. And there might be another area of Skyline that I'm not familiar with that might be far better. So,
Amy?
Thanks. No questions from me. Fred and Kathy asked the ones that I had. Just want to say I love walking backwards up Skyline and up Old Skyline. So very cool to see the photos and the idea. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Jerry?
Thanks. Do you have any numbers on, there's an incline in Castle Rock also, isn't there?
Cool.
Did you look at any of their numbers, how many visitors they get?
I did not. So I'd be happy to get information for if you need it. I can do some homework.
I was just
Absolutely.
curious how it
So-
compares to Manitou.
I do not have that information. I kind of was just really hoping to just kind of copy Manitou. But I'll do some homework for sure. So thank you.
Tim, we skipped you last time. Do you have anything?
Yeah, just real quick, that was a great presentation. I like
Thank
the
you.
idea. I'm glad Jerry just did Couch Rock because we have done that one. And I think just our geography and the number of steps will be closer to Couch Rock than they will be to Manitou. But the biggest thing that I'm worried about is where's the parking going to be?
So right now, there's a current parking lot, and I'm not familiar with, as far as what the city owns, what the city does not. It looked to me today that you could probably build on to this existing parking lot that's at the base right now. It looked like it'd be just a matter of just filling in some dirt and just kind of compacting it down and going from there. Obviously, I'm not sure if that would be allowed or something like that, but I know that the city owns an extensive portion of it, so I would just add on to the existing lot.
Okay, thank you.
Sarah?
I have no questions, but thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Jeremy? Do you have any questions?
Sorry, I was trying to look up the Castle Rock incline real quick. No, I don't have any.
200 steps.
200 steps?
I was
for
looking
Castle Rock?
for annual visitors. That's what I was looking at for both of them.
Okay, perfect timing. It's down to 3 seconds. James, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sarah, you get to be the next one to pull out of the hat here. And you can go ahead and announce it.
Next up is Benjamin Guggens.
Welcome, Ben.
So let's see here. I guess this is pretty obvious here. We just, okay. All right. Let me just get my pen.
Good to go?
I think I'm good to go.
Okay, thank you for
All
coming.
right. Well, thank you all for being here, and thanks for entertaining this plan that I've put together. I haven't really been involved with the pool too much, but when it was put forward that money might go towards something else, it kind of got my energy up, and so I put together what I think is a fairly winning plan here. So, but thank you all for being here. So, just a quick little story. Growing up, I lived right up here on 125 Macon, and we used to come down right here, actually, and do some swimming. This picture was taken in 1877. It's where the old flour mill used to be. And literally where we're sitting is right inside that building at the moment. And where that water comes down is where the creek comes. And we used to not always have the money for going to a swimming pool, so we'd come down here and we'd swim in this exact spot. It was roughly like that when we used to swim here. That wall was there, the water was coming down, and there was that foundation was still there, the building was gone. But one day we were down here swimming with some other neighborhood kids, and we decided to go back home up to Macon, and we heard some sirens. We came back down. We're standing on the bridge right back here, and the other kids that we had been swimming with were standing there as well. Search and rescue was there, and unfortunately I was there when they lifted one of the kids that we've been swimming with, his body out of the water. And so so that's what motivates me to be here, and I think it's good to kind of have our perspective on things here. We're not just talking about another issue, we're talking about something that has tangible benefit and tangible safety issues for our community. And so, onward. So my thought process in approaching this whole pool thing is that these are kind of my guiding principles, that there's no new taxes through this whole going forward. I would like to see a broader contribution to the pool. I'd like to see, obviously, the sales tax that's coming from kind of everybody. I'd like to see the city pitch in a little bit, rec pitch in a little bit, and if we can get some businesses involved, that'd be great as well, which I've found a few. So, and another kind of related principle is that we don't target anyone specifically, whether it's landowners through mill levies or the city. The city shouldn't have to take on the entire budget as well for operations, nor should specific businesses. And my goal is to keep this off the ballot. This is a ballot initiative, but my goal is to keep it off the ballot, and I think I got a pretty strong argument for that. And so my approach to this is that we look at assembling a budget, and then we go and try to find the pool that would match that, as opposed to the reverse, which has happened the last year, which has caused a lot of controversy and some disunity in the community, I would say. So, so with budget first in mind, let's look at what we got for a budget. So the easy part, you know, I walk into this, everybody's already done all the hard work, really, and so all I'm doing is putting together some numbers. We've got $24.8 million towards building a pool. That's the easy part. Capital repair budget, that was built right at, you know, wisely. I think Rec and whoever else had put this right into the last ballot. So any long-term capital repairs, those are already budgeted into the to that. And so really all we got to come up with the operations. And so here's what I've put together. So you know, it's kind of a big mystery, is like how much does something cost to operate? So I went and I looked at Ickabone. Ickabone in 2022 was $130,000. $85,000 was coming from ticket sales. $45,000 was like a grant or money coming out of the rec district's a subsidy, I guess would be the right term, for the pool. And then I also directed Gemini at looking at pools across the United States and trying to get an average of operating budgets. And then I also made some phone calls to Eagle and some other places. And so I set a operating budget goal of $250,000 to $300,000. I think that's extremely realistic for the kind of pool that I eventually came upon. And so the good thing about seasonal pools is they're actually closer to solvent than a year-round pool, way more closer to solvent. So ticket sales, I think conservatively, will bring in $150,000. I've looked at a lot of different sources, and that's, I think, a pretty solid number. It could easily be upwards towards $200,000. Recreation district, and the folks that I've talked with over there, they've put forward a number of $70,000 a year that they could put forward towards operating budget. And just bear in mind, they've subsidized this pool for 50-plus years, and that really was their original mission when it was set up. And it's all based on a mill levy, which is solid and bondable and that sort of thing. So that's the recreation district's portion. And the city has put forward in conversations $50,000 to $75,000. And this was just a conversation with Ryan. But, you know, if you look at it, I looked at Florence's general fund over there. Canyon City has a general fund of, I believe it's $17 million. Florence has a general fund of $3.7 million, and still Florence kicks in $78,000 a year. So as a portion of our general fund, it's a fraction. So this is an easy number, I think, for Canyon City to hit, and if it needs to be a little bit more, certainly we could think about that as well. So I've spent the last 3 weeks talking to a lot of people, probably 100, 150 different conversations and meetings and whatnot. And one thing that really has bothered me over the last number of months is that we haven't reached out to people that have been offering us money. And so the Royal Gorge train, both Don and Mark, I've talked with both of them, I've sat down with them, and they are extremely supportive of a pool. They always have been. They maybe haven't liked the way that we've went about trying to operate it and fund it, but they certainly are very supportive of a pool. And they have offered $50,000 a year. There's some flexibility in how they use that, but Don personally would like to see it go towards children and having access to the pool. And so for tickets and for swim lessons, that sort of thing. So they're willing to kick that in on an annual basis of $50,000 a year. And so there's possibility if we needed to talk about a little bit more operational money, Mark has talked about maybe kicking in a little bit, but he would like to see other businesses step forward before he does that. And so, so for right now, we're just stick with the $50,000 a year towards, we're gonna call the underprivileged children fund, I guess we'll say. And so maybe like me when I was a kid and kids dying in the water back here. So hopefully they can go to the pool instead of swimming these ditches back here. So, and then the last piece of my operating budget is, kind of a creative portion. There's roughly $7 million left over after the construction of the pool that I've identified. And so, you know, we could get the pool built without going on the ballot. We can maybe even operate it for a couple of years, and then with that remaining balance in that construction fund, put it back on the ballot and see if taxpayers are willing to take that $7 million and divide it up over 25 years and operate the pool. Based on my goal operating budget, we should be able to hit that for at least 20, if not 25 years of operations. So kind of a creative portion. I don't know exactly the Tabor and all these different considerations with something like that, but that's just something to consider. But without that, though, we still have the operating budget, just to be clear, between the city, rec, and ticket sales. So, and with the Grexkas, and the reason why I put the Grexkas in here is that if there's kids that are able to swim, otherwise they wouldn't have been able to, it still does affect the overall ticket sales and essentially the operating budget. So, onward. I can't even see what does my slide say? Choosing a pool, I think is what I say up there. I'm not sure. So anyway, so for me, I'm not so hung up on modest or small or anything like that. I want something that is within this budget that I've laid out here. And so we can build Waterworld if we've got the money for it. I'm happy with that. But my thing is just staying fiscally conservative and keeping it within the budget we've got. Initially, I was looking at just sort of a concrete box and replacing what was there. That didn't make a whole lot of sense. But then I've looked at all the work that the rec district has done in terms of public outreach, and there's been a lot of money spent, a lot of studies that have been done, a lot of opinion surveys, and I've tried to take that, and I'm kind of a thrifty guy, so I wanted to take that money and leverage that to get a pool done finally, and so instead of just literally $750,000 just out the window. So it turns out that I think we've got the perfect option. How's this thing? Is it going? I don't know if this is going here, Brandon, you mind? Is there just a delay or? Oh, there we go. So this came out of all this money that has been spent by rec, at least a good chunk of it. These were the options that were put forward. Option 3 was the one that, is there any way we can move that text off of there so we can look at the numbers, Brandon? So if we look at the bottom, option 3, that's the 25 million. Today we couldn't build that pool. That pool is way more expensive than that. So it's that ship has sailed. So so I looked at the other 2 options that were available. And again, these came out of this intense public input process. And so that's why I latched onto these pools as options. So option 2 is the one that I've latched onto now. And there is, we have plenty of operating budget. We have plenty of money to build it, and it's literally a mirror image of the other pool. It's just that it's a seasonal pool, and so so it's much more solvent and much more easy to manage. So, let's see if I get through my slides here. I don't know, this thing's. Oh, so just to give a bit of inspiration, this is Eagles pool. It's very similar in terms of the layout and everything that I'm proposing. It's a pool to be proud of, and it's a pool that I think could, I'm not here to make an economic argument, but I think that if you're sitting in some other city and you say, oh, we're going to be moving there, we have some children, you see this pool, it's like, that looks like pretty cool. I think I'm going to be considering making that part of my criteria for whether I move there or not. So, benefits, I believe it says, of this pool. So it's within budget, it's inflation proof. You know, the nice thing about having a large budget and building something well within it is that if things come up down the road, which they do, we've got the money still to push that project across the finish line. So if building costs go up, we still got it. If the taxes are down, which fires happen and water doesn't flow down rivers, and we don't have as much tax coming in, we can still make our bond payments, and we're staying on the good side of things. let's see, plenty of dollars for long-term repairs. There's, this is a pool, you know, like I said, I initially looked at a small replacement pool, but really for this community, this is a pool that fits this community for size and for growth going forward. So and then Florence's pool is the same age as the one that is shutting down right now. Someone might make the argument they managed it well. No, there's soils issues, all kinds of things like that. And so their pool will fail at some point. And it'd be nice if we could repay the favor and we have a pool that would accommodate our neighbors that have been gracious to us. So I'm a huge fan of this location, growing up in this part of town, and a lot of kids are in this part of town, to not have to get on the highway, not have to go out to the Abbey, not have to cross over. The location is absolutely fantastic, and there's plenty of room to do this pool. So there is an economic argument here. This pool, I mean, I could spend multiple slides just talking about all of the public input that went into this. And I think that as council, you can vote on this pool without it going to the ballot, with the idea that there has been a huge democratic process. You know, if you want to go out and spend more than $750,000 and come up with another one, you can do that, but $750,000 is spent, and this is one of the options, and it's one of the good options that came right out of that process. So I think you can justifiably vote on this without it going to the ballot. So let's see here. There's sort of two considerations of whether it needs to go to the ballot. One is legal, and there is nothing in the language of 2A that says that we can't pivot to a slightly smaller, or not even smaller, slightly less expensive pool. Can we play that clip, Brandon?
Uh-oh. And that's a status issue, and I'm asking you, sir.
We absolutely have the flexibility. The ballot language is what determines what we can or cannot build.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the only restricting thing in the ballot language was that it would be on school district-owned property.
Thank you, Dan. I think Dan might be here, or he was. But, okay, thank you, Dan, for weighing in. So anyways, there's no legal concern, and I would say there's no political concern for you guys that you are going to take a big hit from this, because this is emerging out of a very democratic created pool. So pass this sucker, and we don't have any Tabor concerns, and we get to build this
And that's
thing.
a status issue, and I'm asking you, sir.
Oh, sorry. I guess I played it again. So going forward, no more big studies, no more long schedules. To me, the greatest public outreach is to finally get something done and to get something built. So, no more long process there. So, and I think there could be some room for adding some additional. We have plenty of construction budget, so if we can add some things to add to the bottom line, we should do that, and it'll bring in more ticket sales, and it'll be whatever. I'm not going to get through everything. So, anyways, no new taxes, seasonal pool, get started right away. We don't have to wait for the ballot. Budget-proof and inflation-proof, budget for extra features and no need to scale down, and it's in the best interest of the citizens. I'm not here to talk about phasing, and I'm not proposing this at all. I know I'm out of time, but if someone wants to bolt on a building on this pool, it's literally the exact same one as we had just voted on. Down the road, if we want to come up with that money, we can be right back to where we were just a bit ago and ready to go. Questions?
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it very much. And Kathy, you were up first this time. Okay. Amy?
Thank you. Could you speak a little bit about your thoughts with regard to other businesses? I think you said that you had had many conversations. Do you have others who might be interested in kicking in? And have you talked to anybody about the bonding process and what the interest rate might be if we don't have a solid source? Thanks.
I don't. What I've done in terms of bonding is I've looked at AI, and I've looked at a variety of things, and it is absolutely possible that a municipality, through the full force and weight of a municipality with their general fund, can pull bonds. And even if it's slightly downgraded, this is my understanding, that even if it's slightly downgraded, we've got a handsome amount of money coming in to meet that. This is the part that's a little outside of my skill set, and but that's tentatively what I've looked at, and so this will be off to the experts after me. So,
awesome. Thank you for all the time and effort that you've put in.
You bet.
Jerry.
Yeah, thank you for that presentation. That was my question as well, so I'm good. Thank you.
You bet. Yep.
Sarah?
Thank you for a very informative presentation. My question pertains to the location, this would still be at the location that's currently under consideration, which is next to the high school and replacing the Ichabone.
Yeah, I mean, as Attorney Slater back here said, that, I mean, if it doesn't go to the ballot, it has to stick with that 2A language. And one of the key principles of that is that it needs to stay at that location, use rec district property and the current facility there, so, yep.
Tim, I didn't mean to skip you. You're on if you want to talk. Are you there, Tim?
Yeah, I'm here. One quick question. I'm just curious, you know, I think it is fantastic that the Gretzkas are willing to give the 50 grand. I said this originally when they had their attorney come way back. I'm just wondering, any thoughts on why it's half of what they originally said they wanted to donate for a pool?
Yeah, I mean, so they've been very generous in the community just lately. I know they've been donating to fires. And fires has affected them in many ways. One of them is that they're donating directly to United Way and other funds, as well as their revenue from their train is simply down, and just like with the rafting business, whatever. And a second portion of that, in talking with Mark yesterday, is that he would like to see other businesses contribute as well, which is a fair thing. And so I think just as a matter of time, we've gotten beyond that original offer, but they're still willing to step forward and offer money that will directly affect the operations of this pool and the kids in this community. So I think it's a very generous offer. But
okay.
No, well, thank you on that, and please pass on the word. Thank you for all the support on the fire as well.
yeah.
Thank you.
Jeremy.
Thank you for your presentation. My questions will be more for the rec district for later, I guess.
Okay. Fred?
I'm good.
Okay, very good. I think we're good. Thank you, Ben.
You
Appreciate
bet.
it. Kathy, you get to pull the rabbit out of the hat, this one, and announce it.
Rob Gillickson. Gilkerson, sorry.
Welcome, Rob. Ready anytime you are, Rob, so take your time and we're good to go. We won't start the clock until you do.
Appreciate it. Well, that's something a little bit different than what you've been hearing so far tonight. Really being an advocate for the Western Gateway project. If we move that down a little bit there. The first few slides are really too wordy for a presentation, but I wanted to get all that information out there in case somebody's online and want to research the Canyon City Riverfront Initiative and specifically the Western Gateway project. So they can go online and see the entire project in its entirety. Background, as we all know, look like we about have $2.4 million. I think that should be used for a recreational amenity, preferably one with a water feature. Using matching grants, I think we could triple that to $7.5 million, which is significant. We can go a long ways with this Western Gateway Park. And I think we can get all these features with that grant money. Swim Beach, Venture Hub, and the Oil Creek Safety, I think are all possible. It's been vetted so well already that we have cost estimates, features available for all ages and abilities, and it's a phased implementation. I mean, these are things that grant providers look for, all these features. Thoroughly vetted. Amy's been to many of these meetings, or all of them, 6 stakeholder meetings, 3 community open houses, and it looks like at least 1,000 online comments. Huge list of stakeholders that went to most of these meetings. There's detailed cost estimates for every phase of this project, for every breakout, whether it's the beach, the Venture Hub. We have those numbers. What will fit in nicely to a grant process. It has various features for all ages and abilities. Left-hand picture is the island on your left-hand side, talking with the port. There's a possibility of adding a wheelchair crossing, or I should say a wet water crossing. What for adventurous wheelchair users could do that, because I have crossed deep streams before, Guadalupe Mountain National Park, for example. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough money as going through this budget to do anything with the island at this point in time. Phase implementation. You got your First Street, your core, and your river recreation. And of course, the Venture Hub. I think we should focus on the river recreation because it has a swim beach. This community is dying for something, for swimming of some sort. And this may be the only thing we can do at this point in time. So at a minimum, you'll need an access road, parking, double vault toilet, riverbank restoration, rehabilitation, picnic tables, and your kind of your pea gravel sand beach. Those are kind of your minimums. This is actually taken off of the John Nichols Bridge, and it's looking rough down there. There is a lot of debris in that river on the very site for the potential future swim beach. And as I say in the slide here, it's almost one of the more expensive items with nearly $750,000 just to rehab that area. Double vault toilets, I think that estimate's way too high. I think you can probably get one for less than half that. And I give that an example I like to give is we put a double vault toilet up there at the campground at Thorough Gorge, and I think it was like $50,000 or $60,000. But that was kind of difficult to get up there. So this is going to be easy to get to. Now I did, the original design suggest a flush toilet. I switched that out to help make the budget. This is actually one of the less expensive things, is that $330,000 just for the sand beach and your ramp and sidewalk to the edge. Parking could be an issue. I have 3 possible options. As per plans, vacant land is right next to John Nichols Bridge, Colorado State land, right here across from across. And we now own this, or the city now owns this piece of land here. The downsides for that main road and 2 parking areas, we're talking $1.1 million. But by doing that, that kind of opens the whole thing up, and you can start adding pieces as time goes on. For orientation, we're looking east. John Nickel Bridge is on your right-hand side, and this could be the access to that site. One possibility for parking, or at least some parking, vacant land right here. I bet this is probably already in one of the plans, one of your plans as far as the riverbank restoration. It's real eyesore. The other possibility is parking is CDOT property. Downside for this, I don't think there's a turn lane getting into there. It's right on the corner. Or part of the Black Hills property, the far end. Access will be go through CDOT property and underneath your railroad bridges. And I think we have about right at 8 foot of clearance underneath there. So total cost. If you move that bottom bar up so we can see total cost. Who can do that? There we go, thank you. So total cost for Swim Beach, not including the island, is right at $2.4 million. Now, I think this is overpriced, and I think this is overpriced. Pilot Rock makes some wonderful accessible tables. This one, we can get 3 of these for under $5,000 plus shipping. Anyway, I think there's a little slop in there. Here's a maintenance building as is. Now, I'm not suggesting that's all we do to this property, but to give you an idea of how flexible the budget is. If we just put 6 glass garage doors in there and paint the building, do a little minor rehab, $260,000. And I threw the Standard Oil Company coffee shop in there to give you an idea of what that would look like, because those glass doors really bring a lot of light into that old shop building. This old building will go away. And for the $1.1 million, total rehab of the shop, and it'll have additional features like your climbing walls and your wheeled sports area. Doable. That estimate ranges from 1.1 million all the way up to almost 1.8 million. The jump there is if you add a ramp and a deck on the outside. Really jumps that price up there. So my advice is just stick with the 1.1 million. So Swim Beach, 2.4 million. And I said stick with the 1.1 for the Venture Hub. And if we look at all and do the full Oil Creek ditch safety thing, we're right at $7.2 million with grant money. As you can move that top line down to the bottom, this is a legacy project that will outlive us all. Possible ballot language. I see this as an or question. There's so much interest in the pool, there has to be a pool question on there. But, or would you like to see the unused pool funds to jumpstart the Western Gateway Park, which includes a swim beach? Questions?
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate that. And Amy?
Thanks so much. And thanks so much as well for your dedication and involvement to the stakeholder process for the Western Gateway project over the past 9 months. I don't have any questions. I'm familiar with the project, but just appreciate you bringing it to light so that hopefully others who hadn't heard about it before are now familiar.
Jerry?
Thanks, Rob. Does your vision here include keeping the 0.3% sales tax to fund future expansion of
No.
this? So that would sunset that. Okay, thank you.
Sarah?
Thank you so much for your presentation. So to make sure that I'm clear on it, we would sunset the 0.3% sales tax collected, and the money that has already been collected would be basically the city's matching funds for grants that we would be getting.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Tim?
Thank you. I just thought Rob did a great job there, and I just want to say thank you for that. And but I have no questions on it.
Jeremy?
I got nothing. Thank you.
Fred?
Well done, thank you very much. I don't have anything.
Kathy?
Thanks again, and I'm fine also, thank you.
Okay. People are familiar with the project. Thank you, Rob. We appreciate it very much. Fred, you get to pick the last one out because the next one after that is a no-brainer who it's going to be. So.
All right, Heather Darrow.
Could you repeat that one more time?
Heather Darrow.
Okay, very good. Welcome, Heather. Ed's going to join you?
Yes.
Okay.
Make sure all the mics are on.
Who's joining you on your team here?
Yes, so Gwen and Ed.
Good evening.
Good evening. Go anytime you want, and we'll start the clock.
Yeah. How do I play the video? Is it just this? Oh.
Hanging out with my family and swimming with my family and friends. I like swimming in the summer. Why? Because I think it's really refreshing. It cools you down, and you can spend a lot of fun time with your friends. Yeah, I think it does, because you have to like swim around, and you have to learn to swim, and that's hard work, and it really works your leg muscles. I like doing handstands in the water and getting concessions. I don't know, I'm just having fun. I like going to the swimming pool in the summertime because you get to play in the pool and go down the water slides and jump off the diving board and stuff like that. Bye.
Well, thank you for having this important meeting tonight. I think it's on. Can you hear me there?
Yep.
So thank you for having this important meeting. And in 2024, citizens, including me, voted for this 0.3% sales tax to have a pool. And so we're here tonight still supporting using that tax for what we passed it for, to build a pool. And so when we heard about this opportunity to come here and present, we wanted to talk to the experts, and that's what we did. We wanted you to hear first thing from the kids, and so that was fun. This here is the front page of the Daily Record, clear back to 2000. On the left there, that's me coming down the slide with my daughter, Taylor. And just this picture just represents all the fun memories that we had at Ichabod Pool, and so many people here in this room did growing up and took their kids there, and for decades, kids got to enjoy it. And so we feel passionate about kids for decades to come to have a pool and be able to have those same fun memories. So Canyon City can build a pool, a modest public pool, without raising taxes. So It's great news, and here is how we can do it. In 2024, the people spoke. Like I said, 4,706 citizens voted yes for the pool. It was 53.5%. And this is the single most important fact tonight, is that people said yes, we voted for the tax, and it passed to build a pool. And this is just a representative of, you know, even at this point, when some have said the pool's over, it's a dead issue, we still have people online, and this is various different platforms, posting that they support a pool, that they want a seasonal, modest pool for our kids to use.
And, you know, citizens, we still do want a pool. I started a petition a couple weeks ago, and it was because I felt like the city and the rec district, I felt like you guys had backed out of the project without kind of, without the citizens kind of having a say in that. And it felt like not all the options had been explored yet, and particularly like a seasonal pool. It felt like we were like 95% there, and we were just calling it quits. And I just felt like there must be other people who feel that way. And so that's why I started a petition for a modest pool. And so 522 citizens signed that petition. And that's even after, you know, the news had said that the pool project had stopped. And even after, you know, the tough election year last year, like 522 people still signed it. And citizens keep showing up. We had those 3 ballot committee meetings, and it felt like, I would say, the majority of people who showed up to those committee meetings were definitely for the pool. And so, you know, most of those people were saying, scale down, go seasonal, go modest. Let's explore those options. And so that was. And then the 2024 feasibility study also told us what our citizens want. So in February of 2024, we did the feasibility study, and 1,729 people were surveyed. And during that survey, citizens ranked different pool options. So there were 4 different options evaluated. There was the outdoor and indoor pool, the outdoor recreation and lap pool, the outdoor recreation pool only, and then no pool at all. And of those 4 options, the outdoor recreation and lap pool, that ranked second. And no pool at all ranked the lowest at only 1.67. And this is where we're at right now. And this is not what people want if you're looking at the feasibility study. So this is what we propose. We propose taking the 2A ballot language from 2024 and adding operations and maintenance to that ballot language. And here's just an example of what that could look like. You know, the lawyers would go ahead, the lawyers would figure that out for us, but this is just kind of an example of what it could look like. So without raising taxes would be the very first thing that we would say, because it wouldn't be raising taxes. We would take 0.25% of that 0.3%, and that would go towards construction. The other 0.05% would go towards operations and maintenance. Could you move that up, the text? I can't see what. Okay, and so the 0.05 operations and maintenance, it could sunset or could not sunset. We recommend that it sunsets on December 31st, 2050, just like the rest of the ballot language from 2024. And the reason being, we think that revisiting it in 10 years, once we have a better understanding of what the actual operations costs will be, would probably be a better way to approach it. That way, there's not sort of the misunderstanding about like extending it, like not sunsetting, people thinking that that's raising taxes. So I think just keeping it as a sunset would be a really good idea. Oh, now it's in the way again, sorry. Yeah, the ballot measure approved, if it's approved in 2026, would look like this. So 0.05% of the sales tax would be collected for operations and maintenance. And roughly, that would amount to roughly about $250,000 per year. That would go into an interest-bearing reserve account, and that would continue to collect while we're constructing the pool. And so by the time the pool opens, we'll probably have about $500,000 in that account. The other 0.25% sales tax will go towards construction, which we estimate to be about $18 million. Now, $2 million will have already been collected by the end of this year, and that can go towards design and engineering of the pool, which we're estimating to be about 6 to 9 months. After that design is complete, we could secure a bond for approximately $16 million, give or take, and then construction begins in the summer or fall of 2027. Now, opening day could occur a year from then, possibly in May of 2028, but more likely in May of 2029. So what type of pool could we build with $18 million? So off to the right here, as Ben had in his presentation, this was option 2 in the feasibility study, and like he had said, it's almost a mirror image of the indoor-outdoor pool option that was selected and voters voted on. The only difference being that this does not have the indoor option, so there's no building surrounding the lap pool. And so this $18 to $18 million would include design, demolition, site work, utilities, all the pools and infrastructure, the bathhouse, mechanical and chemical rooms, permits, ADA, stormwater, fire access, and then the soft costs like umbrellas and seating. And the pool would also be scalable. So at this point, we don't know what the interest rate's going to be, and we don't know what construction costs will be this summer. So the pool would be designed in a way that we could scale down if we don't have enough money for every single feature. So another nice thing about this pool is that it meets the needs of all recreational users. So you've got the lap pool for the swim meets, for the high schoolers, for competitions, and you've also got the recreational pool for families, for people of all ages, really. So a similar pool design to what we are proposing is located in Eagle, Colorado, built in 2025, and it was $15 million. So this is kind of what we're looking at. I see that we're kind of running out of time, so I'm going to kind of go through these rest of these slides quicker. So the benefits of choosing this seasonal pool, we've got over 4,000 citizens who have provided input during the feasibility study. So it's already been something that, we already know that people want this pool, and it was ranked second in the feasibility study. It could also makes us eligible for grants. Keeping it at its current location is also a benefit. A lot of work has already been done. Another benefit is we can expand to the adjacent Rudd Park during a future phase. And then the preferred site location was the Ichabod Pool site during the feasibility study, which ranked the highest. So I'm going to end with this. Choosing the pool is really the only fair choice, period. We ask that you choose the pool. We ask that you add operations and maintenance to the existing ballot language. We ask that the city re-engage the rec district to build a pool with an $18 million budget. And we ask the city to reverse the June 1st decision. We also ask that the city and rec district enter an agreement to work together again and get our citizens a pool.
And you'll notice that a lot of our presentation on that option 2 parallels what you heard from Ben, and so we endorse that particular plan. But what's abundantly clear is that the people of Canyon City want to see a plan put forth to get a new seasonal swimming pool built. And it was also clear is that the partnership first put forth to finance a new pool is still the only way forward to get it accomplished. The rec district formed decades ago to build a pool, yet with the expansion, only with the expansion of district boundaries and the inflation, the rec district has taken on Rouse Park, Arkansas Riverwalk, Harrison School Playground Park, and of course, Pathfinder Park. No one would suggest abandoning funding for those facilities to spend on a new pool, and yet the public clearly opposes any property tax increase. The only option then, for the rec district and city to continue to work cooperatively. At your July 7th meeting, you heard voices of reason. Councilwoman Worthington was concerned about a half-baked decision unless the rec district is at the table. And I can tell you that the rec district board 1 week ago indicated to us that they stand ready to listen and cooperate. If you choose to shift those tax dollars to another project, which Canyon City citizens already voted to earmark for a swimming pool, it seems to me it would be only a matter of time before citizens return asking the city help find a way to build a seasonal pool. So we appeal to you tonight, weigh the concept of a new seasonal pool put before you, start anew the conversations with the rec district on how to use this citizen-approved sales tax to not only build a new seasonal pool, but to construct the proper ballot language that would allow a portion of that sales tax to finance ongoing operation and maintenance. So please don't turn your back on this chance to find a way to build a seasonal pool that citizens have said they desperately want. And we trust that you are listening and will respond positively for the children and families of Canyon City. Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Jerry?
Thanks for that. That was really a very good presentation, and I don't have any additional questions.
Tim, I'm not going to skip you this time, so you're on, buddy.
Thank you. You know what? I agree with Jerry. A very good presentation, and thank you. But I have no questions for you. But great job.
Okay, Sarah?
Thank you for the hard work that you put into this presentation. My question pertains to the $16 million bond. Just for clarity, that would be using the bonds that would be available to the rec district, correct? Could you speak to that a little bit?
Yep. Yeah, it would be the bond that was approved in 2024 for the rec district. Yeah.
Conclude. Jeremy?
Between the two ideas, has anybody talked to the school board? Are they still okay with the whole project in general, given the fact we've downsized?
That's a question you'll have to ask Kyle, I guess.
Okay.
You good? Fred?
Well done. Grown a lot since the ballot committees.
Thanks.
Those were great. I'm glad you guys attended those, and I think it brought this to a peak today. So well done. Very well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy?
Just for clarification's sake, I'm half-baked myself, so we're okay. But I did want to just verify that you are advocating for the continuation of the 0.3 sales tax? Okay, just.
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's good, yes.
And Heather mentioned in there about sunsetting beyond
Yes, in
the-
25, yes. I just
Yeah.
wanted to reiterate
I
that.
think that's a discussion council ought to have as to studying the financial breakdown as to paying off those bonds and then what real dollars are needed for annual operations.
Thank you. Good presentation.
Amy?
Thanks. Two hopefully really quick questions. The $16 to $18 million projection is based on inflating the numbers from the 2024 feasibility study. Am I understanding that well?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And it's also just based on kind of more recent pool, like the Eagle Pool, costing $15 million for a very similar design. So other pool projects in Colorado that have been developed recently. Yeah.
Thank you. And then may I ask
Sure,
another?
we've got 2 minutes and 27 seconds.
Oh, and I'm the last one.
Yes, you are.
Awesome.
Dangerous for the rest of us, but go ahead.
No, just one more. With the recommendation that the O&M does sunset in 2050, have you had conversations with the rec district or with anyone else about what that might do with regard to bonding it out and potential bond interest rates? I understand that that's a super technical question and you may not have done that, and no pressure either way.
Yeah, I don't think that specific question has been explored yet. So
I think we would trust your city finance and city administration to discuss those issues with the rec district to come up with some of those answers before you settle on any ballot language.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you for your presentation. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Mike Sturicka, you're up, if you will, sir. So I want to reiterate again what we're going to do while Mike's making his way up here. The folks on the council will be filling out their top two. Tim, you're going to have to lay out yours in a public situation. And from that, we're going to select down to three. I would like to heads up on Della and Chris Wood. I'd like you to count them. So it's away from the council, away from the city government, and you can announce it as far as who the top three are. I would appreciate that. Della, you can be the spokesperson for that and just let us know what that's at, where we're at tonight. So again, I'm just wanting to absolutely put this in citizen hands, and you can announce to us. Yes.
Mayor, I have to announce all the votes
Okay.
verbally,
Very good.
just so you know.
Then can they do the tabulation though and give it to you, and we'll be good?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll plan on doing that.
And just one more point of clarification as far as the voting goes. Council will need to have their names on their ballots and the the results for each ballot.
So
Each council member will be read aloud.
Yep, that's not secret.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Mike, thank you. You're up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, staff that's here. Appreciate the time. My presentation is short and it concentrates on the ballot language for 2A in 2024. I don't have a real good presentation. I'm not computer literate, so making a presentation like's been made is not in my wheelhouse. I do have to say that since I've listened to especially the last presentation, my opinion has changed somewhat, but I still want to give you my thoughts. That ballot question says that it pledges solely the support of financial commitment for a community recreation pool. And that was to be operated by the Canyon City Area Recreation and Park District. So first it goes to the pool, second the rec district runs it, and that, of course, there was mentioned before that ballot initiative passed. I feel the wishes of the voters should be recognized, and any use of collected funds should be used for a swimming pool ran by the rec district. It is important to point out the rec district board did not vote to never do a swimming pool again, as it's been mentioned in a lot of the press and social media, but to scrap the $24.8 million pool and come back at a later time with a more economical and downsized pool proposal. So here's what I propose. I believe that the sales tax should be stopped as of the end of this year. Second, the current funds be held for a period of 5 years ending December 31st, 2031. If the rec district gets a pool plan approved by that time, and that money would go solely for the reduction of the construction cost of that swimming pool. I believe that the community needs a swimming pool, needs it as soon as possible, and I thank you for listening to mine and everybody else's ideas tonight.
Okay, very
take
good, Mike.
questions.
We're still going to put you on for questions. So Sarah, you have the first one.
Thank you for your presentation. So this proposal would give the Recreation District 5 years to come up with a plan to re-engage their bonds, to come up with a plan for a
Exactly.
pool. Okay.
I don't think that, I really like the idea that was presented right before me. I just don't know whether that can be done and continue to, personally, and this is my personal opinion, anything that goes to the ballot short of a refund is going to be rejected. It will be voted down. I feel that that is the feelings and the sentiment of most of the community. So if there's any way that time can pass, the rec district gets a year or so to come up with another plan, and this pool could be in operation by 2029, I think that's the way to go.
Thank you, Sarah. Jeremy?
I'm good. Thank you.
Fred? Kathy? Amy?
Thanks, and thanks so much, Mike. Appreciate you being here tonight. Under your proposal, would anything be on the ballot this November?
Not unless absolutely have to. And what I've heard from the finance department here at the city is maybe, maybe not. Definitely the tax has to, and Tammy has told us in committee that there has to be a project approved and viable for that tax to continue. So that's why I see it no other choice but the council to stop the tax at the end of the year.
Thank you.
Jerry.
Thanks, Mike. Is there a concern that if we come up with a ballot question that's pertaining to a pool or something else and it gets shot down, that's gonna, I think that would force the city to have to do some kind of refund of the money? Is that kind of why you're saying kind of put the money aside?
Leave it in that account that it's in, let it continue to collect the interest it's collecting, and give 5-year period. At the end of that 5-year period, yes, council is going to have to come up with another plan. But I think it's important to give the rec district a chance to come back with a doable plan. And like I said, I had never heard this idea before, but I really liked the previous presentation. I just don't know whether that tax can continue to be collected without firm plans and numbers in place.
Thanks,
Okay.
Mike. Can I ask Ryan a question?
That's cool.
Ryan.
Sure.
If we put some sort of ballot question and it failed, does that force the city to then come up with some kind of refund plan?
I think we've got Catherine on the line. I think that's really more of a legal question. I think, well, Catherine, are you on there?
Yes, I am.
So let me just conclude what we were dealing with first, which is, Mike, thank you for the presentation. One thing I've learned about this job is you need to be able to pivot pretty quickly. So Della and Chris, you're off the hook. We're going to go a different direction with that. And what I'd like to do is now have the council entertain any discussion between themselves they would like to do, including the city attorney, city administrator. And then after that, we will vote. And I'm going to start down at that end because of we have to announce it. So each one will announce what they're going to say. Are you able to do it up there? Okay. Very good. So pivot again.
And just so you know, Councilmember Denny, he has left. He will not be voting tonight.
Okay. Very good. So there won't be a tie, hopefully. Okay. So let's go ahead and ask Catherine what we were going to ask her then.
So if the city put a ballot question on in the fall and it failed, then Tabor, I mean, the project that the sales tax was issued for is no longer moving forward based upon the decisions of the two entities. And so Tabor would require a refund in the following fiscal year. So you would, I'd have to check with Tammy on the Department of Revenue timeline to stop the tax. I can't remember if it's mid-November or if they'll let you tell them after that November election to stop it January 1st.
So Catherine, define a refund, because obviously we can't refund on sales tax. So what would that look like as far as an option?
So the city's going to have to come up, the language in Tabor is fairly broad. It allows anything basically reasonable. There are instances of a sales tax being refunded through, utility bills. I believe one community issued checks. Obviously, sales taxes aren't refunded to those who paid them because there's no means to track that. That's going to be citizens and non-citizens, people coming through town, that kind of thing. So it's not like a property tax where you can go back to the property tax owner and refund the money. So the city's going to have to discuss the best method of refunding within the fairly broad parameters of Tabor.
Okay, very good. Let's have discussion among ourselves then. Does anybody want to hit your button? If you would, Amy's already done that. And I'm trying to be informal tonight. Normally I would call them council members, but tonight they're by their first names. So, Amy.
Awesome. Thanks, Bill. I actually have a motion, and it has to do with the voting. My concern is that we have 4 possible votes for a pool. And if 2 of us like this one and 2 of us like another one, that you could potentially have everybody voting to move forward with a community pool, but then somehow that doesn't actually rise to the top. So I would move that any vote for a community pool concept be considered a vote to advance the community pool as a concept for further evaluation, including discussions with our partners, the rec district, and for legal review. Because I think, as Catherine just indicated, and as most of the presenters indicated, the legal questions and the Tabor questions are pretty far outside of everybody's wheelhouse. So I think it's important that the next 13 days, if that is one of the options that rises to the top, be spent with a lot of discussions between City Council and the Rec District, and a lot of discussions with both of the relevant sets of attorneys.
Just as a matter of clarification, do you view Dan's proposal different than the other 3, which were at one location?
I'm open. Different. Okay. So,
Okay. So just
so
be
the
the 3.
motion is, I move that a vote for Heather Darrow, Ben Guggens, or Mike Sturika's proposal be considered a vote to advance the community pool concept for further evaluation, including reaching out to the Rec District for their input and legal review.
Okay, is there a support to that motion? It's just for helping us with the voting. Jeremy Reeves.
I second it.
Okay, discussion?
One point. Mike's plan was to stop the sales tax, and the other 2 were to continue the sales tax.
I think that it's important that that be one of the 3 options. I think that that's still going towards the community pool, and we don't know until we have a lot of conversations with the Rec District and with the Rec District's attorneys and our attorneys if the other 2 options are viable from a ballot perspective and from a Tabor perspective. So I view that as a way that the intent that I heard in Mike's proposal is that you are holding the funds for a community pool, because that was the intent of the voters in 2024, and it's kind of the most conservative probably of the legal and Tabor questions. So that's why I included it in the 3.
Just to keep us on track for the August 3rd decision, how would the citizens advocate for the next 13 days to the council members as far as which one they would go for? Because I do believe that there is a distinction between what he was advocating and the other 2 pools, which are moving that forward. So
Absolutely. I think that I would want to hear from all citizens about which one is their preferred option. I'm not expecting any of our citizens to be legal experts or Tabor experts. I'm expecting them to love our community and advocate for which one makes the most sense from their perspective. And unfortunately, the laws are what they are. Maybe it's not unfortunately. The laws are what they are, so even we may not be able to go with what the preferred option is. We have to go with what the legal one is. And that's why I think it's important that we look at the community pool as a concept, as opposed to a specific one of the 3 ideas.
Okay, Councilmember Tony.
So we had, was it 4 concepts for the pool?
Yes.
So we want to bundle the pools together?
What I heard from Jerry and Kathy is that they would want to bundle just the community pool, ones that are in the same location and operated by the Rec District
So
together.
if you have those 3, that's sort of the opposite what you were saying. It would delete the others as they come to the top, right? I mean, you would have 3 pools against 1 pool. The private, city private pool would be kicked out because you'd have 3 votes for those pools, right?
Not necessarily. I think every council member would still have their 2 votes. So I don't want to prejudge what anybody might vote for. But I think we essentially have 4 options in front of us. A community pool with a couple of different options as to how to get to that community pool.
So
A
you're
private pool.
you're bundling
Western,
those 3.
Could I finish, please?
Yeah.
A community pool, a private pool, Western Gateway, and the incline. Sorry, James, and the Skyline incline. And I would be fine with just saying vote for one of those four instead of saying that you could vote for the community pool more than once. I take your point.
Yeah.
So we could vote for it by concept as opposed to by,
So you're combining 3 into 1, right?
yeah, I'm happy to do it that way. So that we're voting for it as like, these are the 4 concepts. I just worry about splitting the community pool concept into 3. So I'm happy to vote by concept instead of by presenter.
So as we vote for this concept, that, we're not going to refine that, we're not going to change anything in the concept as we go forward?
I think between tonight and August 3rd, I would want to, if the community pool is, again, I don't want to prejudge what council will vote, but if the community pool is one of the options, and it certainly seems like there is a lot of community support for that, is one of the options that moves forward, I would think that in these 13 days, we would need to have a lot of conversations with the rec district board. We would need to have a lot of conversations with our attorneys. The rec district board would need to have a lot of conversations with their attorneys. So I don't know that come August 3rd, one of those 3 ideas will be what's legal and what we've heard the most from citizens over the next 13 days. I think we need that time to make sure that we can get whatever the idea is, whether it's Skyline Incline, Western Gateway, community pool, private pool, refined into a place that we can have legal language to go on the ballot.
Kathy.
I guess my question to help clarify some of this is, okay, help me determine what's the difference between Heather's and Benjamin's, in the sense that they're talking about basically the same option 2 that was originally assigned. And I guess I need to know from them, what do they consider differences between the 2? That's fine, yeah, but that's good. We're just trying to,
We need you to step up to the mic so citizens at home can hear you.
because that makes a difference as to how you combine them or not combine them.
Heather just shared that they have a comparison chart between the 2 options that's currently being passed out to us.
I didn't know if I should come up here or not.
Ben, if you've got something to say on the topic, go ahead.
I don't, but she had asked a question about if she thinks that there's a difference between the 2 of them, and I would say the goal is the same, but 2 very different ways of getting there, and very different legal questions that might need to be answered, very different Tabor questions, a lot of different questions that could come up through this whole process going forward. And so if you guys vote tonight and you vote on one, and it turns out that there's some legal snare on it, even though everybody is on the same page that they want a pool, let's pretend here, it would be unfair that only that pool would move forward tonight when there's another one that could get us to that same thing. So I think it's only wise that those would be lumped together as an option going forward, and then through this vetting process, through legal and through rec district and whoever else needs to weigh in on it, that they would probably have something to say about these different options. And hopefully both are viable and you can just vote on both of them, but it very well could be that one might have some snares. And so from my perspective, it would be good to lump those together and move forward. But again, very different ways of getting there. We're talking about city budgets, rec district budget, and bonding issues related to that. There's just a lot of questions that are going to need to be answered here. I've done the best that we possibly can with our limited time, but I think those need to be vetted out properly and not vote tonight and knock one out that then down the road, then it's like between some, Western Gate or whatever it is and a pool that then is not legally possible. It's unfair. So if really everybody's on the same page and they vote for a pool, that's what should be advanced. So.
Councilmember Tony.
Yeah, I'd like to finish up there. So what we're doing is we had 6 presentations here. We're combining basically 4 of those presentations together to vote against the other 2, right? You got Heather's, you got Rob's, you got Ben's, and Mike Sturicka's, all about the pool, community pool. So we're voting for a community pool.
Rob is Western Gateway.
I'm sorry, not Rob. You have Heather, Benjamin, and Mike Sturicka. Who else was with the community pools? Dan?
I want to talk about timing, just to make sure we've got this, which is September 1st is the deadline. We need to have a plan in place August 17th, unless we're planning on having a special council meeting after August 17th to meet the September 1st deadline. And so what can we do to make sure that the council can make a decision on August 3rd that moves this process forward? And to me, that means one thing, that the attorneys can do ballot language with and move that forward. And if we cluster, which I think is what Amy's getting at least 2 and maybe 3. Mike, from my perspective, Mike is kind of a different animal than what the other 2 are. And maybe it should be Dan's, Mike's, and the clustering, and vote on that and just see where we're at. And then we can figure out, I think the most issues are probably with Catherine. The common thing with the rec district seems to me the same conversation no matter which of those 2 proposals go forward, that you got to have the rec district that was being involved, but the issues with Tabor and bonding and those kind of things are more legal than they are, I even believe, rec district. So I don't know if that's clarification, but those are the issues I see.
I completely agree, and I'm more than happy to amend my motion to say that a vote, like to, I guess say community pool, which is Heather and Ben's presentations, and to Council Members Tony's point, like you only get to vote for that once. It's like a combined option. Dan, Mike Sturika, James, Rob. So
separate.
Yeah. And then, sorry. And then to your point, the only thing I would add, and I can make this as a separate, I will make this as a separate motion if the community pool idea is one that moves forward, or Mike Sturika's is one that moves forward. I think that we would need to direct the city administrator to send a letter to the rec district reversing the June 1 decision and asking if we can discuss and partner, because I do think that there is some, based on the last rec district board meeting, they are, as Mr. Norden mentioned, more than happy to partner with us, but they are looking for us to come to them and let them know formally that we have reversed that decision and are wanting to work with them again. But the motion as it is let me revise so that Jeremy can see if he will still second. I move that we combine Heather and Ben Guggens into one option, Heather Darrow and Ben Guggens into one option for advancing the community pool concept for further evaluation, including rec district input and legal review.
And the rest stand on their own. Jeremy, do you support that?
Yes, I do. I support it because I think that Heather and Ben's proposals actually work. They pair really well together and actually probably answer a lot of the problems that we've had through this whole thing. I supported initially with Mike Sturika's because it's still at the same location and Dan's is separate. So they're just being different locations. That's why I'd supported initially. But I do think Heather and Ben should actually probably be one proposal kind of together, working out the kinks of that. But
okay, and then Mike's is the delayed one. Okay. The only thing that, again, I want to stress as trying to be the umpire here is that by September 1st, we have this all laid out so citizens are not dealing with this in September and October wondering about details, that we nail this all down. So is there any discussion on this motion further? If not, let's go ahead and vote. Everyone understands the motion?
Unanimously passed.
Okay, very good. Do you have a second motion you're wanting to do?
Not yet.
Okay, very good. So again, I'm turning the floor over to the council members to discuss anything they want to have with this, and then we're going to go ahead and vote for our top 2. And the clerk is going to announce each one of those. I've got that down now. Yes, Sarah?
I have a question for the attorney about the Western Gateway project. Is now an appropriate time to ask that?
Probably.
Okay. This pertains to Tabor. If the ballot measure that, if a ballot measure gets put on the ballot for this fall and it fails and we have to do a refund, is it possible to use the money that's already been collected as our matching funds for grants that we might get for the Western Gateway Park?
No. The short answer is no. Not unless you ask the voters to retain that money and use it for that purpose.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Any other discussion? Yes.
I have one additional follow-up question on that, and then I just have a comment before I vote. Catherine, I believe Rob's proposal was an or question, that the funds be used for a pool or Western Gateway. I'm getting a thumbs up. Is that possible to put on a ballot?
Yes.
You can put an or question on a ballot?
Well, we wouldn't phrase it as an or question. You would just have two purposes attached to the revenue.
Could you explain that a bit further? I think that that's new information to a lot of us on the dais and judging by the expressions in the audience in the room.
So you would have to go to the voters and ask to use that money for either a community pool or the Western Gateway project as council determines. I mean, that's kind of rough language. It could be refined if there's other factors in there. But yes, I mean, tax revenue can be used for multiple purposes, particularly sales tax questions often have multiple purposes that they can be used for, and the local government asks the question and is allowed to apply that either as a priority. They can put priority in the question, this project and then this project, or they can have it be used for multiple purposes.
I think if I understood Mr. Gilkerson's presentation correctly, he wanted the voters to be able to decide either the pool or Western Gateway, not that the city, I'm getting another thumbs up, not that the city be able to use it for either, but that the voters get to say which of the two.
Oh, that's two different questions.
Yeah.
So that's two different Tabor questions. You can't ask a Tabor question like that.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Any other council members who wish to discuss? Go ahead and hit the button so I can see your name up here if you do. And if we don't have anything in the next 5 seconds, we're going to go ahead and vote.
And on the vote, if you are going to do community pool, if you just write that down and then you can circle one of the others, that'll make it easier for me to count, please.
Yep. Councilmember Schmischer.
Thank you. I just want to thank folks for coming for the time that was put into the presentations. I think we all really appreciate it. I want to explain how I'm going to vote and why, I guess. From my perspective, the voters did vote in 2024 for a community pool, and I think that they either should have the opportunity to let us know that they do or don't want it, and then I think the only other thing that I would be comfortable with is a refund going back to the voters in whatever way we legally can, whether that's a sales tax holiday or a utility bill credit. So, thank you.
Catherine, in response to Amy's statement there, if in fact a pool question goes forward and it is goes down, that forces the refund, does it not?
Yeah, I think my recommendation would be that it does. Tabor does not specifically address the circumstances that you are in. It doesn't recognize sales tax used to pay for the construction of a project that ceases to move forward. So my interpretation is that I'm treating this like you're taking in excess revenue. And so that is the portion of Tabor that I'm applying to this situation. So yes, I believe that it's excess revenue at that point, and it needs to be refunded in the following fiscal year as required by Tabor.
So we're really, from a practical standpoint, whatever is put on the ballot, if it is not successful, that is going to force the refund to take place.
Yes.
I understand, but I think that's where Catherine is telling us that that would be a whole nother conversation. I'm following you now as far as how to do that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And just to finish my thought, nothing against any of the other proposals or ideas. I think an incline on Skyline would be very cool. I'm obviously very supportive of Western Gateway, and the idea for the Dino Expo would be amazing. Thanks.
Okay, so you announced yours, said the clerk did not, and so now we just violated that rule, right? So, oh yeah, I'll do them all together. I was just saying I've been having to pivot on that several times tonight. So go ahead and vote, council members, and get them to the clerk, and the clerk will announce that. And while she's doing that, again, I wanted to follow up with Amy and thank you for those who are here. I know the Rec District Director and the Attorney are here. Thank you for that, just so the audience is aware, and all the others have made the presentation. I know that there's lots of people watching online as well, and thank you. And I think the council is trying to do its best and to keep the citizens as the center of gravity for how we move forward as well. And that's the critical component of this is, as many have pointed out tonight, how to make sure the citizens have been heard, and whatever we come up with is a solution that the citizens are the voice that is doing the ultimate decision. So we'll wait on the clerk as she's tallying those, and again, we're shooting for the top 3 to make it to August the 3rd. And while she's doing that, I'll say one more thing. We've got 13 days between this particular vote and August the 3rd, and I invite and encourage everyone who has an interest in this that they would go ahead and contact their city council member and make their advocacy for that. I also want to acknowledge Cameron Dean is here from KKTV, and he stuck with it and came all the way from Colorado Springs, and his camera person is here as well, so we appreciate that. I suspect you're having a boring time in Colorado Springs to come out here to this, and I don't know if the chief is still on or not. I saw that he was on at one point, and he's 2 hours ahead of us, and I think he was doing it so he could get to sleep, would be my guess. So, oh, the presentations were great. It's us, the mayor is the one that would put him to sleep, so we're good.
Mayor, I'm ready if you are.
I'm ready, city clerk.
Okay, I will announce who each person voted for first and then the tallies. Councilmember McCullough, Community Pool, and Rob Gilkerson. Councilmember Reeves, the Community Pool, and James Santilli. Councilmember Tony, the Community Pool, and Rob Gilkerson. Councilmember Worthington, the Community Pool, and Rob Gilkerson. Mayor Pro Tem Schmischer, the Community Pool, and Mike Sturika. Councilmember Maloney, the Community Pool, and James Santilli. That puts Community Pool with 6 votes for first, Rob Gilkerson with 3 votes for second, and James Santilli with 2 votes for third.
So all 3 of those advance. So each one of those, it's basically a clean slate going forward at this point. The votes are there to move each of those 3 forward. And I'd like, again, clerk, if you could repeat those just so the citizens understand exactly which ones, and we won't use their names. We'll talk about which project it was, so the Western Gateway, et cetera.
Community Pool had 6 votes, Western Gateway had 3 votes, Incline had 2 votes.
Okay, so I hope that's clear with everyone as far as what the proposals are. And I do want some clarification before I have Councilmember Schmischer on just what do we need to tackle on the pool side of the fence to get that to a position that the council can make a decision on August 3rd. What are the hanging details that absolutely need to be decided to make that? And I guess I'm asking the city administrator, and I'm also asking the city attorney.
I think from an administration side, council's going to need to decide whether or not if it's a community pool, if it's going to be something that's going on the ballots as in Ms. Darrow's presentation, or if it's going to be Mr. Guggen's presentation. So you're going to have to we'll have to work some of that out. I think from a bonding perspective, we'll have to work with the rec district and the attorneys to figure out if we have any issues there from a bonding perspective. I think the question was asked earlier whether or not operational funding that's subject to appropriations will affect the rating versus dedicated funds. and we can come back with a more refined answer for that.
Okay. Is there any chance that the two could get together and they come up with a unified plan that we could look at? Is that possible from you folks' side of the fence? You're saying yes or you're saying no? Okay. Okay. Very good. So the council is going to have to decide one way or the other as far as what they want to do. Can you put together a fact sheet or some kind of sheet that, I know there's a comparison here, but I'd like to have it come from city administration as far as how you see that, just as neutral as possible, but laying that out so the council members can take a look at that.
Yeah, we can work through those details, but I think as we move forward with the community pool project, we will need permission to work with the rec district.
Is there a motion to do that? That's not retracting the first one. I would think that yep, understand. But I'm hoping that that would have a narrow scope to it, that during this consideration process that is looked at. And that's up to whoever wants to make the motion, but I think the narrow scope is useful. Councilmember Schmischer.
Thanks. Yes, I do think that we need to work closely with the rec district. I think in both of the community pool options, they are a critical partner and they need to have a seat at the table in figuring out what makes the most sense moving forward. I would also, there we go. Now I can make a motion.
You can.
Thanks so much, Cindy. And I would think that we would also need to hear from their attorney, their perspective, and from their bond counsel, their perspective, because they are the ones with the bonding authority. So I would request, let's see, I would make a motion to direct the city administrator to rescind the June 1st letter severing our relationship and partnership with the rec district on working on a community pool, and emphasizing our desire to work closely and collaboratively in the time period between June 21st and August 3rd to find a collaborative solution and way forward.
Councilmember McCullough.
Seconded.
Discussion on this motion. Any discussion? So this is up until August 3rd. I want to just clarify that for citizens who may be listening. So this is not a vote that the pool is going to go forward. This is simply a vote that we work with them to get something before us on August 3rd that the city council can make an informed decision.
Absolutely, including council working with the rec district board, city staff working with rec district staff, attorneys working with attorneys between now and August 3rd.
Okay. That was more expansive than how I understood it, that you got council members and rec district people. I almost think it needs to be narrowed down to the administration, but that's your call as council. So otherwise, we could get a lot of confusion going on as far as in 13 days what's going to come out of it. And if we had it city administrator focus.
The city administrator, the direction is for the city administrator to lead that process and to send the letter. I would imagine that as part of that collaboration and process that you would need the rec district attorney to weigh in. And
that I understand.
And that likely you would have council and board members that the rec district executives director and the city administrator are talking to and asking, those boards may be asking clarifying questions, they may have involvement. But the direction is for the city administrator to send a letter to the rec district to initiate that process.
Right, and again, I'm just wanting Amy to make sure that others understand, Rob and James, that they're not in the back seat as far as the discussion, that August 3rd is the decision that's going to be made, and we're all going to be listening to citizens during that time.
Oh, 100%. And I would imagine with both of those, my motion doesn't have to do with either of those proposals. just because we don't have anything on the record saying that we don't have another government entity that we necessarily need to work with either of those. But both with the Western Gateway project, I would imagine that we would want to direct the city administrator to be working closely with our grant writer and with Port to see what the feasibility and viability of that is. And I would imagine with the incline, we would want to talk to our partners at Fremont Adventure Recreation to see what they may know. We would definitely want to be looking at what land we already own, so getting some of the feasibility done. But I didn't think that that would necessitate a motion because it isn't walking anything back.
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
Other than, I just want to make sure that they understand that the thumb isn't on the scale before August 3rd.
Oh,
that,
definitely not.
That we would have the city administrator work with those parties as well. So, is there any further discussion on the motion? Let's go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to-
Excuse me, Councilmember Tony.
Yeah, I'd like to clarify. So this will be for our city administrator to work with the rec district to work this out. Do we need to have special council meetings working with the city administrator as well?
We may need to. I would defer to the city administrator and the rec district executive director as they have those initial conversations to let us know if that is needed. But I want to make sure folks are aware, like I think a lot of work would need to be done over the next 13 days. So it may be necessitated, but I would defer to the city administrator after he's sent that letter and had those initial conversations with the rec district executive
Right, yeah,
director.
because I'd like the entire council to be invited to those.
Oh, 100%. We all need to be working from the same playing sheet and have the same information when we come to the August 3rd meeting.
And then let's talk about the August 3rd meeting before that vote, which is, I envision that we would take an hour and a half to ask the questions on that night, as opposed to having a special council meeting where you're trying to make a motion in the next 13 days, that we can allot a fair amount of time on August 3rd to have the council completely ask the questions they need to do on all three of them, and they can make a decision on that evening, and as opposed to, again, a special council meeting, which really would be only necessary if you had to take a vote. And I can't envision myself as far as what vote would be necessary prior to August 3rd and the council making its decision. So, go ahead. You want to respond to that?
The only thing I would say is, similar to how we did previous joint sessions with the rec district board, so that the two boards can discuss. There wasn't a motion that was made in those meetings, but there were some joint sessions where discussion needed to take place.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't want to, I'm going to speak frankly, I don't want to see us walk into a political disaster for ourselves either. I think we've got to, both boards have got to keep credibility and how we handle this. And so as much as it can be done on the administrative level with bringing something before the council as opposed to having something that was joint, and again, we really need to bring the community together as opposed to not, and that's my concern, is how we handle this from a professional standpoint. I'm not voting on anything. I'm trying to just get us through this, and we come out in November with citizens working together and something that is done successfully, as opposed to we lost something and all of a sudden now we're back into remembering for the last 3 years what happened. Somehow there's got to be a path forward for us. Any other discussion on this motion? Let's go ahead and vote.
Unanimously passed.
Okay. What else do we need to discuss tonight? Anything else? James, Rob, we want you to work with the city administrator to come up with more details for each one of those. And I think the city administrator's got sufficient direction on what he's going to be doing with the rec district. And August 3rd, 13 days from now, we're going to have a final decision on what that looks like. And I know some of you are even saying it doesn't need to go to the ballot. We'll figure that out. And there's no thumb on the scale is how I view it. And it could be a longer meeting on August 3rd, but that's okay. This is important to citizens, and it is your money. So thank you for coming, everyone. Thank you so much for the presentations. Thank you to those who have taken the time to watch online. Thank you, Catherine Sellers, and everyone else on the council and the discussion, and this meeting is adjourned.